Start. Okay, we will, in the last session, we saw how to install Maven, how to check the version of Maven. We also played around with a sample Maven multi-module project, which most of the projects use. I mean, we can even look at a Spring Boot project in the future, which a lot of microservices will be using. But before we go there, let's take a look at how to build a plugin and what are the phases and life cycle goals that the terms which we haven't really looked at in detail, and those are the things that we're going to explore today. I'm not sure if you got a chance to go through it. It's okay if you didn't get to, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to start somewhere from archetype, because I don't want to write the whole thing by hand. I want most of the skeleton to be created. In general, DevOps or not DevOps, everywhere people talk about generating code, right? I mean, you don't want to write some code which is pretty much redundant, which occurs again and again. Instead of that, you would rather want to generate it. So first of all, do you all have this URL with you? If you don't, I've sent it in WhatsApp, but I will send it again over here so that you can do this while I'm doing, okay? Or you can watch the recording and do it later if you want to, however you like. I would prefer you do it along with me if you want to. So let's go ahead, choose a place for us to work from. So let's go to...
Samir, I'll listen peacefully. Later, I'll do it.
Sure. So maybe everybody can do it later if you follow it. Let's get into DevOps training. Let's get into Sandbox, because I'm going to anyway commit this project. So what I will do is, first of all, I will go ahead and close everything which I don't need, so to avoid confusion, and paste this over here. This style of writing is not supported on a Windows command prompt. You should remember that. This would only be supported by a Cygwin or a Git bash kind of CLI. Okay, this slashes I'm talking about. If you want to run it on a command prompt, please delete this and bring everything on one single line. Okay, since I'll be using Git bash, I will continue following the same standard. So group ID, you already know we are using com.lotusops, I think, .maven .plugin. So that means we are creating a Maven plugin. I mean, you don't have to write it so deep, but I would, well, you know what? Just for the simplicity, let me get rid of this. I'll just leave it as hello Maven plugin under com.lotusops. And the archetype group ID, this is basically, there are something called as engine or archetype. Those engines allow you to create skeleton projects. Okay, so Maven archetype of Maven archetype plugin is just not one. There are several archetypes which are available. So later on, if you get a chance, just search for Maven archetypes and you'll see several options. This is not the only one. This one is to create a plugin. The Maven archetype plugin is to create a plugin. So I will copy this. I don't know whether I've already opened this. Let me close this guy here and close this one. Go back to Sandbox. Romana, please ask the question.
Yes, Samir. Two questions. One, in what you're doing right now. But before that, I just wanted to check with you, what is the real-time use case where you would want to have a custom plugin? Or rather, for that matter, what does a plugin do in a... Maven is a build tool, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it comes, I believe it comes with its own set of instructions to read through the code and compile and generate the source code or whatever the library files.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some real time?
Well, to answer your question, I'll keep it pretty short. We are not looking at, I will answer your question, okay? But let me tell you what is the real purpose of looking at how to write a plugin. The real purpose of how to look at plugin is to be able to touch the foundational concept of lifecycle, goals, and phases, which we haven't looked at. We haven't looked at any plugin for that sake. right? So instead of taking you through an existing plugin and telling you what are the life cycle and the phases, I'm thinking a better approach is to actually write a sample plugin so that you get to see it and then you are able to relate it. So I would rather suggest keep the question parked for now, because the whole purpose is not to show you what it will do. The purpose is to clear a lot of fundamental concepts that are around it, which you've not even seen.
Got it.
Okay, that's the first answer to you. So I will say park your question. But since you asked the question, I will answer that question. In real life, I have seen very few people write plugin by themselves in 99% of the time. There are those 1% of the time where there are people like me who love to write plugin because they don't want to work around only with solutions that are given out. You would want to think out of the box and see if there is some solution. And I can give you several examples. Let me give you one example, which you might not. The reason I wanted to park the question is because if I talk something now, you might not even be able to relate to it. There is a plugin called a Maven Enforcer plugin, which is given to you by Maven. Okay. With that, what it says is you can write your own rules. So I had created a custom rules plugin wherein I wrote my own rule to avoid developers to do something, which I'm not going to get into the details of it, wherein we'll get into it. Okay. But I think the answer to you should be clear that there is no right purpose for it. The whole reason we are writing a plugin is to understand the fundamental concepts around Maven.
Got it. Yeah. And second quick one, in what you were typing, archetype something, right? So the group ID, archetype, the group ID and all that. In POM file, we saw there was no D prefix, but I am seeing D prefix here. What is
D? D is nothing but anytime you want to pass a JVM argument. So D is nothing to do with Maven. D is basically when we are raising this command, I want to pass some arguments to it. So you pass with a minus D, capital D. It's a JVM argument.
Okay.
Okay. So let me copy this and paste it over here. Enter. The most important thing what you need to understand over here is we are using a command to create a skeleton project for us to write plugin in. We can do the whole thing by hand. I can create a folder, I can create a POM inside it, write the POM.xml specification inside it, and then create a folder which complies with the plugin folder. But instead of that, I already have an archetype. So I'm using the archetype to generate that code. That is the only thing that you need to understand as of now, right now. So I will give the version 100 snapshot, and it says group ID is comlotus, artifact ID is hello Maven plugin, version number is 100 snapshot. Just so that it doesn't ask you for the version number, I'm going to add that thing over here, minus D, version equals to 1.0.0 hyphen snapshot. We haven't even talked about snapshot and release. For that sake, we will talk about it, not the right time to talk about. Okay, so I will say Y over here, press enter. So that particular project has been created. The name of the project would be whatever the archetype ID is, artifact ID is, sorry, hello Maven plugin. So let's go in there.
Samir, if it's okay, can you paste that commands that you just typed so that if we can keep up with it, we'll do it finally.
I will be putting it into the readme.md file.
Okay.
So you would not need to take from here. You just clone the project. Later on, when it is then GitHub, you'll get all the commands.
Good.
Okay. All right. So this is the one. I'm going to go ahead and create the and this is another practice I would highly recommend you to do. Not many people do it. Is anytime you do something, you don't have to write additional documentation which can stay along with the code. So whatever can stay with the code, please keep it with the code. All right. Okay, let me save this. Let's go ahead and use our Git magic, right? What was the name of the artifact? Hello. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly go to GitHub. And create a new repository and call it as first Maven or Hello Maven plugin. Let's use that same name. Yeah. Make it as private so that you guys will get access to it automatically. I don't need any of those because I already have a README file. And over here, it says basically create a new repository on the command line. So this is what we want. We do not have an existing repository. Otherwise, I would have used this command. So what I will do is I will just copy these commands as is, put in my console over here. I don't need to add a README because I already have it. So I'm just going to do git status and then do a git add dot. I can add a git ignore file to it. I will add it later, not now. So you know what, let's do a git ignore file anyway, we will need it. So just add a git ignore file. And then do a git commit, what is here. Just copy it, paste it over here. Git branch -m main, that means create a new branch called main. And then add a remote. So right now, if you see a git remote, there'll be nothing in there. There's nothing. So we want to tell that this code belongs to that particular remote. That's what this command is, git remote add, which we hadn't seen, but in the commands I had given you this git add command. So add it and then do a git push -u origin to push the code up to the origin over here. So after this completes, I will refresh here, the code will be there. Can you please go and confirm that you're able to see that code? All right, while you confirm that, I will go back and load this command in code, VS Code. I usually like to use IntelliJ for Java kind of project, but just for the sake of simplicity, I'll keep it as VS Code over here. All right. Do you want me to stop? You guys want to ask any question so far?
Yes, Samir, I have a question.
Please.
You have executed the command mvn archetype :generate. By executing this command, I think we have created one repository in our local remote, in our laptop. Am I right?
Yeah.
Then can't we push the same repository into the remote repository?
Yeah, I did the same. You cannot push without creating something on the Git.
Okay.
You can, unless and until you use APIs to create the repository first and then push your code, which is harder to do as compared to this. You'll create a repository over here and then push your
Jyoti,
even in FIS, right? When you want to create your repository in your Bitbucket, you'll remember what's happening. What is? Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know why this is saying. Okay, so if you want to create a repository in Bitbucket, you'll be able to push anything from your local unless you go into your personal repo and create that.
Okay, so in such a case, we must put the same name.
No, you don't. You don't have to. You don't have to. This folder name could have been anything. It could have been Hello Samir plugin over here, and I could have gone here. If you remember, I was writing it as first Maven plugin. So this folder has nothing to do with it. Just to prove that point, what I will do is I will clone this from here, which has Hello Maven plugin. I will go back to my repository over here, go a level up and do a git clone paste. By default, it will bring it in this particular folder, Hello Maven plugin. I don't want that. I want it to be called as delete.
I remember now. Yeah. Yes, you're right.
Now it will come in as the delete plugin if you really look at it over here.
Yes.
Right. So that restriction is not there, that the name should be same on the remote versus what is here.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
All right, so let's move forward. Can anybody confirm that they are able to see this repository in the remote?
Where exactly have you placed it, Samir? Is it in Lotus Ops or outside of Lotus Ops?
Lotus Ops only.
So I see only two folders, DevOps and Maven.
Yeah, me too, Samir.
Wait,
We
hold on.
can't see.
Why did I
Yeah,
create
me too.
this?
We are not able to see it.
Shoot, I should have created it in the okay, let me get rid of this guy. Give me 1 second. Setting. So okay, you'll at least get to see how to delete a repository. This is another lesson for you. Setting. And then if you go down the danger zone, just delete it. And then write the name of the repository that you want to delete. That will delete. And it needs my password. Okay, that's deleted. I will go to the organization. I think I created under my name. That's why you didn't see it. View organization, repository, new repository. And so over here, I can name anything I want. Okay, it's just a coincidence that I'm naming it exact same. Private, create repository. Okay, this is another nice thing for you. What you'll see is I already have one remote, correct? This is another beauty of Git is I already have initiated it with a Git. I have added the README file. I have done the commit. I have done the branch. What I want to do is I want to create a brand new remote. So if I go in here and if I see Git remote -v, I already have it pointed to the old one. Sorry, not this. Hello Maven plugin. I already have pointing it to the old one, right? I have a choice, and this is a nice concept, which is good to know, is there's an origin over here. I can have my local pointing to pushing to multiple. It doesn't even need to be 2, okay? It can even be 3 in your cases. In a wild case, if you want to get it from 3 different people, you can do it. So you can either get it for them or push it from them. This is just the reverse of last time I talked about where Saujanya was getting from Anji was getting from Saujanya and somebody else was getting from Anji, right? Each one of them was treating each other as the origin. Over here, you have multiple origin. So you can pick up from, that's exactly what we're going to see over here. There's already one origin over here, which the name is called origin. I will add a new one. By default, it will try to create the one called origin. I'll add a new one and I'll call it as origin new. Okay. Okay, let me do this. So now if I do a git remote -v, I have origin and I have origin new. Okay, so now if I want to do a push, I shouldn't be using git push -u origin. I will do a git push -u origin new. And then the name of the branch main. See that? Close. Now you should be able to see. Okay, just for the sake of clarity that I don't have to remember to write origin new every single time. This was just for conceptual purpose. So what I will do is I will delete both of them right now. Git. So if you do git remote -h or -help, it will give you all the command basically. Add, rename, remove, set hit, so on and so forth. So I'm going to use the remove, git remote remove origin and origin new. I don't want to remove. I just want it to be set to a different name. So there should be a rename over here. Rename. I will use the rename. I'm just doing it so that you guys can see that this is also possible. Git remote, not remove. Git remote rename origin new. So now if I say git remote -v, this is origin now. So next time when I do a push, it will push to Lotus Ops, not Samir Sheikh. Any questions here? Should not be. You should be able to practice this after looking at my session. So let's not stop. Let's move ahead with plugin because I want to at least complete the plugin before we start asking questions. Okay, so let's move ahead. Let's look at this. This is already installed. Close. So basically, it'll tell you that it's a Java project. So do you want to install? So you can feel free to install. Even if you don't install, that's fine. We are not going to use this for the IDE for building or compiling. So that's fine for now. So first of all, I'll go to the POM file. Let's explore the POM file a bit. So this looks good. The packaging is not POM or not WAR or not jar or not ER. It's Maven-plugin if you notice it. If you have your own website, you can put the website name over here. I'm just going to leave it out. It says Maven.version. So what it is expecting it is, this is a way to read something from a property or read something from the JVM argument that you'll pass when invoking the Maven package command or install command. So that's what this $curly braces is. But if you look at Maven version, it should be down here. It is saying use Maven version 3.3.9. Maven compiler is 1.7. But what I will do is I will check my Java version. It is 11. So I will call it as Java 11. So Jyoti, you had pinged about some issue that you're having with WAR plugin. Was that it's resolved by changing the version number of compiler?
Yes, Samir, resolved, but 17 is not working.
Okay.
11 is fine. Okay,
so I know why 17 would not be working is the version numbers, right? Which is over here. Well, this not this one, but Maven WAR plugin. You probably want to just go search. I didn't want to tell you that because you didn't know what plugin is, and right now you know. So you can search for Maven WAR plugin and look at the version number, the latest version number of the WAR plugin. So basically it is there in usage. Version is 1.0, not this one. Let's go to goals, if not usage, and look at Maven WAR. And where is the version number? There should be an example given. Okay, here. So 3.3.2 is the latest version. So if you're using 17, Java 17, try to use the latest version of the plugins also. Sometimes what will happen is, just because we generated using Arch type, we got the version number of the plugin, which are older version. So you want to use all the newer version, Maven jar, Maven WAR, and Maven clean, and all those other plugins, right? Search for each one of them and use the latest version that is available. Okay. Another way to do it is you can do Maven WAR plugin, and then you can say Maven repo over here. Okay. And click here. And here also you should be able to get the version number. So whichever way you go, you'll get the same version number 3.3.2 if you see. But anyway, let's move forward. It is telling you everything that it is doing over here, a simple mojo. So let's go and look at the mojo, what they have. These are all the dependencies, what they have given. These are all the plugin dependency. If you see Maven clean plugin over here, you can always pick this up from here. Go to your browser and say Maven repo and pick up here. And 3.1.0 is the latest one. And this is 3.1.0. So this is good. We don't have to change anything over here. Let's move down. This all looks good. We don't have to get into this till the time we get into trouble. So all of this you would have had to build by hand, Rumana, if you don't use Arch type. We have just used it so that we can generate it over here like this. Okay. Let's move to the actual.
Yeah, Samir, here packaging, they have specified Maven plugin, but usually jar, var, default is jar.
Yeah.
But what does it mean here, Maven plugin?
Yeah, because we are writing a plugin, right? The whole purpose of our exercise today is to create a plugin, Maven plugin. Maven plugin is not jar, war, or whatever. It is of packaging type Maven plugin.
So whenever we are trying to create a plugin, is it mandatory Maven plugin?
Yes,
you must to specify the same.
It is.
Okay.
It is. Okay. Let's look at my mojo over here. And if you see here, this is what the mojo is. And let's see what mojo are they talking about. They're talking about a mojo called greetings mojo. So we'll follow the same one so that we don't have to spend too much time thinking about what needs to be done. I think we don't need this touch mojo. We'll leave it out. right? Test is there, Java, my Mojo test. They also have a test over here. We can use this one itself if need be, but what I will do is I will go ahead and create a new file called, I will use the same name. They have greetings mojo.java. So create that file, just copy the content. Since you don't know Java, most of us, I will just copy this and put it as is over here. Okay, I will not, we can spend some time looking at it later, but for now, the package cannot be sample plugin. So I want to use the com lotus ops only. The plugin cannot be anything different than this folder name over here. So I will remove the sample plugin from here and save it. So this class looks okay. Now let's go down and you can read through all of this. The class abstract Mojo provides most of the infrastructure required to implement a Mojo. A Mojo is nothing but a Maven plugin, except for the execute method. The annotation Mojo is required and control how and when the Mojo is executed. The execute method can throw exceptions. What are the different exceptions is what they're talking about. We will not go through each one of them because I want to complete the Mojo first, and then we can look at each one of them in detail. Okay, so let's move forward. Group ID, artifact ID, version number, packaging. This should be set to Maven plugin. This is the answer for you, Jyoti, if you are the one who asked it. Moving down, there are several dependencies that are required. Those are the dependencies which you're seeing in the POM file over here. So if we go down, these are the dependencies. Okay, plugin management and then plugins, and then there are profiles. We might not require it. We'll see if we have to remove it later based on this. Let's move down. Then what it is saying is executing your first Mojo. The most direct means of executing your new plugin is to specify the plugin goal directly on the command line. To do this, you need to configure Hello Maven plugin in your project. First of all, even before we go here, we have to build our plugin, right? For example, to run the simple Mojo, okay, not this, username settings, not this. Okay, let's first go ahead and see if we can. Okay, I'm going to stop here for a second. I'm going to just go ahead and delete these files, which were the older ones. Delete this, delete this. That's it. I'm just cleaning things up. Target is anyway generated. We don't need it. Let's clean it. And I'm going to empty my recycle bin just to get it to a cleaner level. There's POM and there's one Mojo basically. Everything else is secondary for us. We don't really care about them. Let's go ahead and see whether we can build it. Maven clean package. Let's see if we get into any trouble. It worked, right? Now I want to be able to use this plugin myself. Yes, I can give this plugin to several more people, but for me, if I have to get it into my local repository, what is the command?
Maven install.
Maven clean.
Maven clean install.
Correct. So let's install this. Okay, that is installed. Now I want to create a simple jar project in Maven, a jar-based project. The best way I usually do it is I search for Maven in 5 minutes. That's what I usually do. So I go in Maven in 5 minutes and I copy the archetype from here. That's the same archetype which I'd given you last time, but I copy from here. And
Samir, is this command something like a template to create a plugin or a Java, Maven
archetype,
Java project?
archetype generate. In archetype, there are several goals. So this is the plugin. This is the goal. Archetype generate. That's what we even use over here. Archetype generate. Archetype generate is to create a template project for us.
But
Hello.
otherwise, there must be a way to do so using some IDE as well, right? Like create Maven project, Maven plugin. There must be some.
You can. There are several IDEs that allow you to create a Maven project by right-clicking around, or you can do everything by hand too. You don't even need anything. The only reason that you can use whatever you want. Basically, you can use the IDE. You can use this command. I prefer to use the command because if you know the command, that's the same thing what the IDE would be using behind the scene. Because otherwise, especially when you're learning, and if you go by the click ops way, you never get to know what is the internals of it. That's how I look at it.
Right.
Okay, so the last time the archetype was this artifact ID. This one was Maven archetype plugin, if you really look at it. And with this quick start, it is Maven archetype quick start. Archetype ID, this, and I think I will also give a version -d version equals to 1.0.0 hyphen snapshot. And please don't get confused. This is hello Maven plugin test. So I want to test my plugin using this Java project. So anybody, or I can just call it as a, well, I don't want to call it anything else because you should know it is a test for Maven plugin. I want to harness it, basically. That's what it is. So I will copy from here. If you're imagining what am I doing with this little tildes over here and a hash over here and a hyphen over here, this is called markup language or markdown language. So if you're interested, search for markdown cheat sheet, let's say. This will have everything. So if you want to make something bold, you put asterisks. If you want to create a code, you put 1 tilde. So instead of 3 tilde, I can put even 1 tilde over there, right? So this is what I'm using. So I will put this for you because you always want to do something that is neat, right? And this is a good place for you to, I'm not going to teach anything about Markdown. It's all up to you. If you want to know how to create table and, create columns and rows and all, this is all here. That's how I will leave it to you for now. Okay, let's go ahead. Let me copy this command only from here and let me see if I can create that test. So dash paste. Oh, what happened? It doesn't like the tab.
It created one, right?
What is that?
It created one. I could see Maven plugin test over there.
Yeah, it created, but it didn't like. It didn't like the command. It kind of put spaces in between, while running it. It did create it, definitely. But while you're running it, I don't want you to get into trouble. So I will leave it like this. Okay. All right. It created this project. Let me go ahead and do clear cd hello test and then do a code dot, open that up. And I will go to the POM file. I will change this to 11 because that's the version what I have. And I want to add my plugin over here, right? Dependency analysis. Okay, go ahead, install it. Okay, the next thing is here. It says to add the plugin, you have to first add the plugin in the POM file. So first of all, let me go ahead and see in the POM file. Right, accept. Okay. I want to see if there's a build section. So there's already a build section over here in the test project. Okay. So I'm not going to copy the build section. I'm just going to copy the plugin. So let me see if the plugins also is there. Plugin management is there, but plugins is not there. So I will just copy the plugins part from here and I will put it over here in the build section. And sample plugin is not the group ID for us. It is com.lotus ops. Hello Maven plugin. The version number is 1.0.0. That is what we have used. And let me go ahead and build that project and see if there's a problem in getting it, because we already did install. I'm hoping that it's already there. So let's do a Maven clean package for the test project. Okay. Yeah, hello Maven plugin test. Hello Maven plugin test. All right, hello Maven plugin test. Okay, it didn't give any problem. So let's go back now. Now it says, and you need to specify a fully qualified goal in the form of Maven group ID, artifact ID, version, goal. So now I want to invoke that plugin. The plugin has already been. So, okay, let me back off a little bit and give you a little gist of what we did. First thing, we went ahead and created the plugin. This is the plugin basically. We added that one single class in the main called greeting mojo. And it is basically going to say hello world to us. That's what the plugin is all about. The mojo name is say hi. Okay, that's what the mojo name is. Next thing what we did is we created a test project. And in that test project, we hooked up that plugin. We hooked up that plugin over here. Now what I want to do is, it is saying group ID, artifact ID, version, goal. What is the goal? Goal is say hi. Say hi goal. Okay, so now let's go ahead and see whether we can do that. So Maven com.lotus ops colon hello Maven plugin colon 1.0.0 hyphen snapshot and colon goal, I believe, colon goal. I just want to see the say hi, H is small. Let's see what happens. You see here? You see this? Yeah. Now your next question should be, Samir, every time we want to call a plugin, do we really have to create a project and then call it this way? No, you don't need to. That's not the whole purpose of the plugin. The whole purpose of the plugin is you should be able to invoke it during the life cycle of this project. For example, you want to run this every time when the clean job is called. Let's say when you do a Maven clean, MVN clean only, you want to call this. It is doable. That's exactly how people use it. But okay, I will hold on and let you ask question. Go ahead, please ask question.
Yeah, so can a plugin have multiple goals, because you are specifying a specific goal, right? That you created in one Mojo file. So that just made me think, can we have multiple goals in a plugin that you really have to specify like that? Can you not just default it? You
need to. So if you see here, for example, Maven War plugin, how many goals does it have? It have exploded goal, help goal, in place goal, and war goal. If you go to Maven, what was this? Maven help plugin. Look at goals. See, if I had to start teaching you from here, right, it would have been really difficult for you to really understand what goals is. But now when you have the code in front of you, you have a chance to go ahead and write your own mojos, write your own goal, the name of the goal, and write your own code, what needs to be done when the execute method is called. Right? So now it becomes a little easier for me that pick up any plugin, there will be many goals to it. So what is goal for you? Goal for is one class file with the execute method, and that execute method will do something when you do active profile. So let's run one of this over here. Let's say help effective POM. I want to know what is the effective POM. for my project over here, for this test project. So I can do maven help effective -pom. It'll give me, although you are seeing only 5 or 6 dependencies, what will be the actual final dependencies that it will have. So that's what effective POM means. So if you see, this is how my actual POM is. Although the POM looks very small, it will bring all of those other dependencies that are required.
Is this what is called as super POM?
You can consider it as a merge of super POM plus your POM. Super POM is POM of POM, basically. So this POM, whichever POM is here, there is a parent to that POM, implicit parent to the POM. That is the super POM. So this one
the
has.
POM and the parent POM together is what we are seeing on the screen.
Technically, you're not seeing that. Technically, what you're seeing is, I'm just putting JUnit over here. So JUnit does not bring me any other transitive dependencies. If I remove JUnit and put, let's say, for example, Spring Framework Web. Spring Framework Web, like the way I showed you last time, it gets about 3 or 4 dependencies. So all those dependencies also will show in effective POM. In this effective POM. That is basically all the dependencies that you'll actually get, even the ones that you've not defined, and you'll get them transitively. Transitively is you're actually defined a dependency that is bringing the dependency. So you define, let's say B depends on A, so it'll bring the A dependency automatically. That is the transitive dependency. If A depends on C, so C becomes also a transitive dependency of A. A becomes a transitive dependency of B, so on and so forth. That's what a transitive dependency is. But let's not get into that for now. I think once you start playing with plugin, that's this basically the exercise that we did. Let me first of all go ahead and commit the changes so that you have it. I don't want target.
I think, Samir, you were trying to explain, is that the only way to invoke a goal? Can we not integrate it as part of the...
I will come there, Rumana. Just give me a second. Just hold on, please. Get ignore Java project. So let's get that guy. Just give me a second. I'm just trying to put this. Where is target over here? No, not this one. So I will take this guy. I'm just trying to commit the changes for you so that you can have it. Put this. And then let's put Java also. Save it. And let's see if it has a VS Code. Okay, I'm not going to take VS Code. Get status. Good. Get add dot. Get commit -m added creating module. Okay, you should be able to pull this code. Do you want me to commit the test project also? Do you want me to commit the test project also?
Yes, please do it.
Hello, Maven. Test. So this project, both the projects are up there for you to reference. We can always add a README file over here, and then we can add instructions to it. Now let's go ahead and look at what Romana was asking for. You go to any plugin over here. Let's say this guy. Okay, let's pick up this. Class path. I want an example of goal. Okay. So we already have put plugins. I'm going to take this particular part from there for now, and I'm going to go back to my which project was that? This one. I'll go back to this project over here. Was this the project? No, this was yesterday's. Let me close this one and let's go here. So we have already defined group ID, artifact ID, version number. What I want to define is I want to define executions because I want to run it inline. I don't want to run it using the command which I shown you. So let me put that command also. Just so that we don't forget it. And over here. That's how it's going to look like. Okay, that looks good. Let's see if I can remove this. Yep, that looks good. Save it, save it, save it, save. Now we are going to look at how to invoke it directly as part of the clean phase. Let's go back here, copy the executions. So executions, execution, and then it should end with a execution and with executions. I want to run it every time we do a clean. I want that hello world to be written over here. This is say hi. And the goal that we want to call is say hi, correct? This can be any name, okay? I will just so that to avoid confusion, I'll call it as say hi ID. It has to be unique every single time. Close. Now go back over here where we had run this command, right? I will clear it and do a Maven clean. Let's see if that say hello world shows up over here. See this? So now you know there are two ways to invoke it. One is there is something called as Maven phases, and I had already sent you a link for that, right? Maven lifecycle phases. So now this Maven lifecycle, it gets so much easier for me to explain all this to you with this code in place now. So if you see, there are several more actually. There's validate, compile, test, package, verify, install, deploy, and it is talking about there are three built-in life cycles: default, clean, and site. The default ones has all of this. You have a clean one, which we always run, and there's another one which is site, which is when you want to generate a report for your whole application. Okay, so if you haven't read it, please read through this. This is one of the fundamentals that you need to know. And if you see here, these are all the phases, the detailed phases. If you really look at it, there's the process class, generate sources, process sources, generate resources, process resources, so on and so forth. If you can just go through all of this here, and really understand what is happening, I don't think so anybody can challenge you in Maven. At least not now that you've written a plugin. So we will also write a Maven rules plugin. So basically for Enforcer, we will write a rule and integrate it. That way, FIS is already using it. So Jyoti, it will help you, but in general, it will help everybody. This URL, I'm going to put it over here. Where was it? Was it here? Yeah. That's a good one for you. Well, we don't even need this. I will put it as references. So there's this reference where you can click on it and get there. Okay. Plugin can be invoked in two ways. First way, okay. What's the first way?
Command prompt.
From the CLI following the and the second one is integrate it directly in the one of the life cycle phases of Maven using the executions. That should tell you what it is, correct? I will anyway put that other piece also here. So when you read it, you'll get to see.
Using Markdown here also. Am I right, Samir?
Yes. Yeah, this is Markdown. Looks good. All right, we are not done yet, right? We are not done yet because there are a couple more things that we have to do before we, you never want to call it as group ID, artifact ID, version number. You remember how we had called the clean goal? So let me see. The help goal, we said help and effective POM. We didn't have to give that ORJ, Apache and all of that path, right? How do we get there with our own custom plugin? That's exactly what these guys are talking about. Next is you can go into your settings.xml file and you can add this entry in the settings.xml file. So this is another critical piece that otherwise would have been very tough for me to teach you. Now, since we have looked at this plugin, it becomes a lot easier. So I will go to the place where Maven is installed. installations, Apache Maven, conf, and I'll copy this settings file from here. Okay. I will go to users, and then go to M2, and I'll paste it over here, this settings file. In this settings file, this is the default settings file, right? I want to search for plugin groups because I want to add a new plugin group. Here, there is plugin groups. So in this plugin groups, I want to add the name of my plugin. And this is com.lotusops. Okay. Hello. How does it convert it from hello Maven plugin to hello? I don't know why they're saying hello. They should have been hello -Maven -plugin, unless, yeah, there's a typo here. I don't see a reason how they are going to call it as hello. But anyway, let's go ahead and go back here. I'm just going to remove this group name because now we have defined it as a known group. By default, the known group is org Apache, right? org Apache is a known group. They have given it over here. org Apache Maven plugin, org CodeOS Mojo, those are known, those are implicit. But if you have your own group, please define your group over here is what they're saying. And that's what we did. So in our command, we are going to get rid of the group. We are going to leave the artifact ID there. Let me leave this version also there for now. Let's see what happens. It says failure. Plugin not found. Did I put a typo there? Let me see. I think I added this only. Did I save it or not? I did save it.
Maybe reopening the terminal will fetch the settings, updated settings.
Maybe. Yeah, because it'll try to search this plugin outside and it doesn't know the group ID. So let's read this a little bit over here. How are they saying it will be hello? That's what I don't understand here, because when invoking it, they had invoked with the same thing as what we did, right? Mapping. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's go ahead and open a new prompt over here, because you don't know this is Windows. So what we will say is MVN Maven, what was that? Hello Maven plugin .0.0 snapshot. Should resolve. I don't know why plugin not found in any plugin repository. Okay, let's go ahead and see if it is there. It should be there. Repository com lotus ops. Yeah, it is there. Interesting.
Test we did not publish, right?
What's that?
To local, the test project we did not publish it to local repository.
No, test we don't need, right? Because test is using this plugin. Test is using this plugin, so it is not required. I want to see what is here. Give me 1 second. Let's actually go ahead and see if Maven hello say hi will work. Okay, because I'm thinking there might be a manifest somewhere which converts that name of the artifact to hello, so it gets the latest one. So we'll not put all of this, and then we'll get back to it, how it works. Okay. Since they said hello should work, let's try hello. Yeah, it worked. So I'm thinking this hello is a manifest somewhere inside here. So we'll figure out what is that manifest basically. Because it is not artifact ID, it is not version number. There has to be a hello somewhere, just hello. But I don't see hello anywhere. There should be some manifest. Some manifest should be there. IT. No. No. How does it? Oh, this is a puzzle. How does it identify hello as that plugin is what I'm trying to guess.
Samir,
Okay.
what did we give the module name?
Where? There's no module name, right? There's only plugin.
Mojo name.
Oh, Mojo name.
Name
Okay.
equal to, yeah, I think we give hello.
Okay, that could be it. That's where there has to be some manifest. No, Mojo is say hi.
Say hi.
Yeah, so this is the goal
Okay.
that we are calling. But where is hello? Where is, I don't see any. I don't see this hello. How does it resolve that hello to this plugin is what I'm trying to get to. You know what I'm trying to get to, right? So at this point, it's saying, see, if you need to run the latest version of a plugin installed in your local repository, you can omit its version number. So just this should work. So earlier we had put version number, right? That is not required. It's saying perfect. We understand that. So if I go in here and if I get the older one, okay, the best way is to do history. And then let's pick up. I was trying to see if there's another one with the group ID already there somewhere. It's fine. We can just pick this up, paste it. And what it is saying is the version is not required. So I will get rid of the version because I want to run the latest one. If I need a specific version, that version is required. And then it's saying com dot should work. And I believe them, this should work. No doubt. Okay. That I don't have a doubt on. The next one they're saying is you can assign a shortened prefix to your plugin, such as MVN hello say hi. This is done automatically if you follow the convention of using, oh, now I get it. Now I understand. That hello comes from this part. This part, not this part, here, this part. So if I rename my plugin, and instead of Hello Maven plugin, I call it as Hello to Maven plugin, then I can use just the first part. The second part is a convention. That's exactly what I'd forgotten about, right? So prefix Maven plugin. So if you even start at the start, they would tell you your plugin should not be written with Maven plugin at the start, because all the other plugin, Maven dependency plugin, Maven clean plugin, Maven comes at the start. Those are official Maven plugin. Every other plugin should be your prefix hyphen Maven plugin. So that is the prefix that we were using over here. So that's kind of clear to me. Is it clear to you too, everybody? Is that clear? How hello is coming?
Yes.
Yes.
So now you get a real hand example of how I also would sometimes forget, and the documentation will help me, right? That should be the same with all of you guys. I mean, if you forget something, go to the documentation, it'll tell you. Okay, let's go ahead and do this again. So say hi will do, but what if I give a version number? It should give me only that specific version. Otherwise it gets me the latest version. So this also should work. It is saying plugin not found in any plugin repository. Good, interesting. So it doesn't like, sorry, my bad. goal has to be last, right? This should work. No? So with a shorthand, with a shorthand form, it doesn't give you option to get a specific version. It always gets the latest version. That's what is probably the documentation also talking maybe. If so, I cannot, if I have to give a version number, I have to give a explicit path of group ID, artifact ID, and the version number. If I use shorthand, it always gets me the latest version. Okay. I mean, nobody is going to ask you all this question in real life, right? I'm just trying to be a super QA or tester, whatever it is, and I'm trying to test all the possibilities. And we know this version cannot be got. So this is exactly what I want you also to do. Play around with it, and not only play around from what we did. You might want to play around with what if you want to bring in some variables. I want to pass some variables to my program. How do I pass variables? How do I take input for a plugin? So what I want you to do is just Google how to provide input to Maven plugin. Okay, we completed in like almost in about an hour with all the questions, which is pretty phenomenal. But I'm thinking this, looking at this plugin, do you think you have a little bit of confidence now of what lifecycle phases are? What is a goal? If you go to a plugin and if you start reading about that plugin, you'll be able to understand it. Do you have that confidence now?
Samir.
Yeah. Please go ahead, whoever it is. Hello?
I think she unmuted later where she said yes. I mean, she wanted to say yes, but you heard it as Samir.
Okay. All right, so if you see here, extends abstract mojo, you can provide parameters using this format, and you can use that into your, so basically here, how it is being passed. So what I want you to do is play with what I have shown you right now. And then next time when you come and meet me, either on Wednesday or Friday, we'll figure out which day is the best. I want you to be doing something like this, giving away when you define your plugin in the plugin test version, you should be able to pass me configuration values. So here it is passing an array. That's what these options are. Then he has a timeout integer. That's what this is. And then there's a URL, which is a string. So I really want you to do this. Okay. This will, once you've done this, you should get a pretty good confidence on any plugin. Basically, if you see, you'll be able to figure out what that plugin is really doing. Okay, so I will put that in here also. All right, I'll stop over here and I'll give you a chance to ask me questions.
First, you have created one plugin, Hello Maven plugin, and then again you have created Hello Maven plugin test. Could you please explain once again the overall?
Yeah, so Hello Maven plugin is your actual plugin. We did a Maven clean install so that this plugin could be installed in your local repository over here. So it got installed over here. Okay. And then we created a test project for us to test this plugin. In this test project, we just hooked up that plugin over here. We are using that plugin as if it's any other plugin. Like a Maven jar plugin, war plugin, ER plugin, we are treating this plugin as any other plugin. So we've put it over here. So let me first of all commit the changes. Give me 1 second. Okay, so coming back to this test project is just to use that plugin. This is where we are using the plugin that we wrote. Jyoti, do you have any questions here? Jyoti, you have to be unmuted.
Yeah.
You don't understand still?
No.
Okay, tell me who understands here.
I got the overall picture, Samir.
Okay, so let me put it in a very layman way. Give me 1 second. There's this boy over here. He wants to eat apple. What does he really need? He's thinking about eating apple. So what he needs?
It's an apple.
He needs an apple, right? Somebody has to grow apple, buy apple, get apple, do whatever it is. But that's what the apple is. Now, once the apple is ready, what will this guy do? Eat it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the exact same thing. This is the Maven plugin. In the Maven plugin, we said that the job of the Maven plugin is nothing but to write hello world to the console. That's the only job. It does nothing else. So that's where we created this apple. Now, when we create the plugin, what is the plugin of use? If that plugin is not used by someone, if the apple is not eaten by someone, so this is the guy, this is your Maven plugin test. This is a tester basically. This is telling you, yes, you wrote a plugin, I'm using it, and I'm able to call the plugin in 2 different ways. What are the 2 different ways? The first way is using from the CLI, which is following this standard over here. And the second way is integrating it into the lifecycle phase, which is this way. Now, if you go to any plugin basically, you go to Maven War plugin, ER plugin, dependency plugin, you can look at your connect POM file. You'll see several plugins in there. And then you'll be able to relate. So now if I go to dependency plugin and if I do a get, and let's say I'll pick up one of the usages over here. Copy. So if you see, that's the same format, the format in which we have specified a plugin over here, group ID, artifact ID, version number. That's the same way any other plugin in the ecosystem of Maven is used. That's the same way they have executions. And now I also told you to do an input for it so that you can also have a configuration section. Once you know there is group ID, artifact ID, version number, executions, and configuration, no matter which plugin you look, it's the exact same plugin. And in our case, what is happening? We are writing the plugin ourselves. So instead of hello world, I can say hello Samir over here. Even now, you don't understand, Jyoti?
Yes, I understood. Here I got a small question.
Yeah.
Most of the people don't create the plugins by themselves. We use the default plugins. Do we need to put all the default plugins also in this test? Not required.
Not required.
Okay.
Oh, wait, which test? This test over here?
We kept the plugin, yes.
If you want to, yes. If you want to play around with the dependency plugin and you want to copy something from one file to another, if that is your requirement and you want to play around, you can, if you want to. That is not a requirement.
Okay.
That's not a requirement. What I'm saying is if you want to add any other new plugin, you can definitely go ahead and add it over here. You can, this is first plugin, you add second plugin, third plugin, fourth plugin, and then you can tie it up to a phase if you want to, like the way I've done it to the clean phase over here. It's all up to you how many plugins you want to add. But my whole purpose was to show you how a plugin could be written, how a plugin could be consumed. So next time when you look at any plugin in the ecosystem, you should not come and really ask me a question what it does. The documentation itself will tell you. By looking at the goals, you'll know they have so many goals. By click on one of them, you'll know what it does. This is the copy goal, right? What it does, that copies a list of artifacts from repository to defined location. And then it has given you all the input parameters, which we didn't do. I've given it to you as an assignment. And that's where I have added this link over here in readme.md. This link, input Maven plugin. So I've told you as an assignment, please do this. But before you get here, I want you to play around with this. Change the name if you want to of the final artifact. So you can go in here and instead of hello, you can call it as Apple Maven plugin. And now when you're invoking it, see whether you're able to do it with Apple : say hi. Or if you want to change the say hi, go ahead and see if you can change this to something else. Change it to hello, let's say. And change this one to something else. Or you can even keep it here and you can say hello : hello. So it's all up to you what you want to do. Now, I have given you the flavor. You play around with that flavor. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, Soujanya, you're quiet. You have to tell me, did you understand?
I understood, Samir. Actually, I finished doing this morning, so
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's what was my expectation, that you guys will be able to do it when I gave it to you, because then it will be easier for you to understand what we are doing.
Yeah, Samir. Yeah, Samir. I had a question.
Yeah.
In a multi-module project, if we want to invoke the plugin in the child projects in the modules, do we need to write the plugin and invoke them from the parent POM or from the child project?
It depends. If you're integrating it this way, then you don't need to invoke from anywhere, right? As soon as that particular child module gets executed on the clean phase, it'll automatically get executed. If you want it to be executed on each and every child module, then you'll rather put it on the parent. So as soon as you put a plugin at the parent, it gets applied to all the children as a form of inheritance. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Okay.
So if you want it to be applied to each and every child, you add it to the parent. If you want it to be only at the child, there is a tag called inherited over here. You'll set it to false. That means from the parent, it will never be inherited by anybody else.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? I think we have 30 more minutes. If we have to touch base on any other concept, we can. But if you think this is good enough for you to spend some time and attention, I would rather want you to do that, because this is a very fundamental technique. Even though nobody writes a plugin, there's another one I want you to do as part of your assignment. So where do you want me to give you assignment? In the WhatsApp? Or can I give it to you here?
WhatsApp would work.
WhatsApp is good. Yes.
Okay, hold on. Doesn't want to work.
You can put it in chat, Samir. I can.
Okay, I think it worked. That's the first one I want you to do. Okay, and the third one. So they have already given probably custom rule. So here, yeah, you can go through this. There are a lot of rules which are there out of the box, but first of all, you should learn how to use. So research on how to use Maven Enforcer plugin default. Okay. The fourth one is write a custom rule. Okay, that's a lot of work, but I don't want you to jump any one of those. If you're not able to do this, it doesn't make sense to do this. If you're not able to do this, it doesn't make sense to do this. If you're not able to do this, it doesn't make sense to do this. That's the level of complexity for each one of them. Okay, so you cannot jump here and try to complete this and not do this. You'll have to go it in order.
What do you mean custom rule? Do we have to write our own class?
Yes,
Plugin
yes.
class?
So,
Okay.
so you'll be able to write your own. So I'll just give you a gist of what an enforcer is basically. Enforcer, let's see. What is there? If there is a usage for Maven Enforcer, give me 1 second. Here. So displays the current information as detected by the built-in rule. So let's run this and see what happens in our local first of all. So MVN Enforcer display info. It's giving just this information over here. Okay, that's what that plugin is doing. And then there's a enforcer enforce. So this one, let's see if there's a better one. Using Maven Enforcer plugin. Spelling is not right. Plugin. Let's look at this guy. I like this guy sometimes. This might be a good one for you. So what it is saying is ban duplicate POM dependency version. So there's already a rule called ban duplicate POM dependency version. So this one should be a good reference for you for, I will send more of them. So let's research some more. And this is what I want you to research. Okay. Maven Enforcer plugin rules. I want to know what are all the rules, built-in rules. So here's all the built-in rules. This is what I wanted you to research basically, but since you asked, and I don't want you to struggle a lot. So play with the built-in rules. So if you, let's go through a couple of them, not all of them. Where is the built-in rule gone? Here. Always fail. Always fail is used to test plugin configuration. I want my build to always fail. That's what it is. So how do I get the plugin? And Jyoti, this is for you. I'm copying from here and I'm putting it in over here, just below this plugin. What that plugin is supposed to do, the plugin is always supposed to fail the build. Okay. So let's do this. And what phase is being tied to? It is being tied to enforce phase. So let's go ahead and run this Maven clean package, let's say, or Maven clean only. I don't know whether clean will just clean it. Yeah, that's good. Package. Or we can even do enforce. See this? Some enforcer rules have failed. Look above for specific. It says failed with message, always fails. That means this is not a failure. We have forced the build to fail. And that's how you do it. That's how you do it. Similarly, now you can go to each of them, always pass. Irrespective of something fails or not, you always want to pass. That's what it is. Band distribution management. Distribution management. Let me put up something over here. Where are we? Let's put something here. We will write what problem it solves, but before we get there, what I want to do is topics to be covered in the upcoming sessions. First, we will see some of them today because we have some time. Settings.xml. We want to look at settings security.xml. We want to look at distribution management. We want to look at dependency. Management. Okay, we'll come back to it and add more if something comes up, but let's go ahead and read the rules. So band distribution management, you don't know what distribution management is. Just to give you an idea, distribution management is a tag of XML tag basically, wherein you can define where you want to deploy your artifacts. So right now when we do a Maven clean install, it goes into a .m2 repository, right? And you remember I had said you can also put it onto a remote repository. That when you want to deploy something to remote repository, the goal is deploy. It's Maven clean deploy, not Maven clean install. Okay. And if you do a Maven clean deploy, right now, if I run Maven clean deploy in my code over here, it should fail that distribution management has not been defined. But before that, let me remove this fail always one over here. I'll just comment it out so that you can reference it when I commit this. So what I can do is just save this and then do a Maven clean deploy. Instead of install, I'm doing deploy, and then it should fail with distribution management not defined or some error similar. Remote not known, something like that. It'll do compile, it'll do clean, it'll go install, it'll do, package install, but it'll not be deploying because it doesn't know where to deploy to. You see this? The repository element was specified in the POM inside distribution management element. So we haven't defined it basically, where to deploy it. So if I go into my, come on. There's no distribution management here. There is no distribution management. over here in this form for sure, because we have created it. Okay, so distribution management is another thing that you can, if you want, you can Google yourself based on what is distribution management, but that's not what we're stopping on, because we'll cover it. Ban duplicate POM dependency version. So if there are two dependencies that I added, so let's go ahead and do this. If I go in here, there is JUnit, right? Already added. I will copy this. I'll paste this same thing over here. What should happen? Basically, nothing should happen, right? It should not stop me from building this. So let's try it. And all of this, what I'm showing you, is basically what I expect you to do, okay, as part of your assignment. But I'm just showing you a couple of examples. It works, correct? But in a real world, we don't want it to work. What if you're using two different versions? So what this guy does, ban duplicate POM dependency, is exactly that. So we'll go there, we'll copy the plugin, and we will bring it here, and we'll paste it over here. Save it, and now let's go ahead and see whether it works. See that some enforcer rules have failed. Duplicate dependency declaring in this project. Are you able to at least get to a point? What are these enforcers useful for now? Things like this, right? Things like this are not easy to identify sometimes. Here there are only two dependencies. That's why you can tell me there are two dependencies. There'll be like tens of hundreds of dependencies over here. And you want to know if there's a duplicate defined. Are you going to sit and every time check it? Or rather you'll just have a enforcer rule. You'll rather have an enforcer rule, right? Are you guys understanding, or am I talking to myself?
Yes.
Okay, so this way, this exact way, what I'm doing, I want you to go through each and every one. There'll be some you understand, some you do not understand. It's fine. So require OS, enforce the OS and CPU architecture. If you want it to run only on Windows machine, you don't want it to run on any other machine. You want a specific version of Maven. You want a specific version of Java. You have a specific vendor of Java. All of these rules you can write. And this is where I was telling you, right? I wrote a plugin or a rules of my own. So that's called a custom rule plugin, Jyoti, if you want to look at in FIS, that's my plugin. That's my rule plugin, basically. It's a rule, basically. I would not call it a plugin. I wrote that custom rule. So I wanted to have a rule wherein I wanted to avoid developers from adding versions directly over here. I didn't want them to add it over here. There is a concept of dependency management, which I'm already marking over here. We need to do. We didn't talk about it, right? At that time, you'll come to know why I wrote that plugin. So I'm managing this plugin from, okay, let's put something more over here. EPOM, EBOM. We have to cover this too also. Okay, I will stop here. I think I've given you several examples for you to go through your assignment and feel the importance of all of this, right? And you start using this, then you figure out, I want to copy some files from some remote and bring it over here. There'll be several use cases. For all of these use cases, just Google and find out which is the plugin, right plugin for me. That's the best way to learn. Okay, let's make it interactive now. In the last final couple of minutes, please tell me what you understood, what you didn't understand with all the sessions that we took. We took Git, we took Maven now. We did a little bit of Groovy. I showed you how a Groovy console, you can write your own Groovy commands. With all of this, I want to understand where's your level of confidence. Do you feel confident, or do you think it's a big ocean and Samir is just making us feel it's too deep? Or do you think I'm helping you in any way?
Definitely helping, Samir. But we also need to put in our effort to like go through all the references that you're giving to gain that knowledge. I had a question on this plugin thing, right? So we saw how to write our own custom plugin. So is there, and it also Maven also comes with some default plugins, right? Inbuilt plugins. So my question is there a way that you can extend or override the inbuilt plugin to add on more functionality or maybe change the functionality and use it within your project? Is that doable?
All the plugins are open source plugins. So if you want to bring a plugin and then modify it and call it your own and then integrate it into the lifecycle, yes, you can, but nobody does it.
Okay. And my understanding on rules versus plugin, plugin is something which will bring in additional functionality to the to the build process, whereas rules are something where you are saying like enforcing something on the project code to
No. Rule is being used by the enforcer plugin. That's exactly what we saw over here, right? There's a plugin called enforcer plugin.
Okay.
In enforcer plugin, you can specify which rule you want to use. You can specify more than one rule over here. So everything is plugin. In Maven, Maven itself is a plugin. Everything is a plugin. Compiler is a Maven compiler plugin. Package, Maven package plugin. Install, Maven install plugin. If you think I'm kidding, search for it. That's what the Maven install plugin is. Okay. If you want to do a Maven compiler plugin is here. Every single thing is a plugin. The only thing what Maven has given you out of the box is some of the plugins it has taken and it has put into the life cycle. I have already sent you the link of life cycle. Unless you study that life cycle well, probably you should not ask me question on that. You should study life cycle, and then you know that each and every life cycle validate plugin. Look for validate. They might not be named exactly the same. Okay, sometimes you might not find validate plugin. It might be a version plugin basically that validate plugin is being used. Okay, so you can, if you don't find it, just find out what Stack Overflow people are saying. You'll get it. It's a Maven version plugin. So you can even look at Maven version plugin. It has several goals. There are two plugins which you should definitely see. Let me put it over here. Is Maven help plugin and Maven version plugin. But to answer your question, Romana, I will answer it over here. In Maven, you have phases. For example, you have validate, compile, package, install. Each of these phases are actually plugins. Okay, what you can do is you can bring your own plugin and say, during this phase, I want my plugin also to be run. For example, during the compile phase, the Maven compiler plugin is invoked. You can say, I want my new plugin also to be invoked. That new plugin will bring some source code from some remote, bring it down, and then compile it by itself before you go to package. So you can never go to install plugin before you go to package. You can never go to package plugin before you go to compile. You can never go to compile plugin before you go to validate. You can never go to deploy plugin before you go to install. So you kind of understand, right? The phases. And again, I don't want to go through these details because then I want you to read. Because if you read, that's when you would not need me anymore. Any problem that comes, you'll be able to read it. Okay, and I'm making your life easy because there are several things to read. I'm just picking up cherries and giving it to you. That these are the important cherries. Please eat them. Romana, have I answered your question or have I not answered your question?
Yes, Sameer. So you can think of pretty much everything as a plugin, including the life cycle phases, and plugin will have rules.
Life cycle phases is not a plugin. Plugins are tied to life cycle phases.
Yeah.
And a rule, the rule that you were asking is specifically tied only to enforcer plugin. Okay, an enforcer plugin is probably coming over here. I don't know whether, so if you look at life cycle phases, so search for phases. Come on, not this. I want the default Maven, yeah, this one. And if you go down here and search for enforce, this guy doesn't even show enforce. But one of these phases down here, where was the big one? I think it does that enforce on the validate, if I'm not wrong. I might be completely wrong. But when we looked over here, right, it said phase is enforce. Oh, sorry, not the phase. Oh, it didn't even define a phase, basically. The goal was enforce, but it didn't define a. So it is basically by default, this guy would be enforcing it on a specific phase. So if you Google for Maven phase plus Maven enforcer, it will tell you what is the default phase. If you want to tie it to a specific phase, then you can do the same thing what we did over here. Where was that? We did this, right? Phase clean. So you can explicitly put that phase. But I'm thinking the default phase is validate phase for Maven enforcer plugin. I might be wrong, but I'm thinking that's what it is. Because you want to enforce it before the compilation starts or validation starts. Okay, go ahead. Anybody else wants to ask question? Jyoti, Mansa?
Yes, Samir. If we are using the enforcer plugin, don't we need to build the plugin first and then run the?
No, you don't need to. That is not your plugin.
Okay.
So,
with any other plugin also, don't we need to run the plugin build first? Okay.
No, you don't need to, because that's not your plugin. Only this custom plugin is your plugin.
Okay.
All other plugins are already given to you either by Maven or by the community. They can be
directly we are directly we are using.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So if you become an expert in Maven, you can actually write plugin and publish it to the Maven Central so that other people can use your plugin. So they would not have to rebuild this, right? What you've done.
Yes.
You'll create a jar and give it to them. Here's the new plugin. Here's the documentation, and they will just use it. That's exactly how you'll just use it.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else has any questions? I will stop sharing and I will stop the recording. Give me 1 second. Where is